Good evening.
Your class was really enjoyable last time also, and
Thank you so much. I really enjoyed because you all had been involved and you had kept me busy. I really appreciate.
Yes, sir, your class is really very interesting. I was waiting for your class to happen again.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I really appreciate.
And this topic, मतलब ये मेरे लिए सर एक हुआ है बहुत बड़ा.
अरे आज के बाद हुआ नहीं होगा because I have been taught by a gentleman who was involved in the process of ADS system. ADS is a line documentation system. This gentleman was involved in this process, my professor, and I'll give you a flow chart.
Okay, sir.
Once you go through this flow chart, you don't need to remember these documents. Everything will flow in a system and you don't have to look at it. I don't look at the chart at all. I remember the things by heart because he explained us so well that we don't have to look at the chart at all. I will not see the chart, but I'll tell you 19th document is bill of lading. 21st is certificate of origin. So this is how he explained us. I'll be sharing that chart with you at the end of the session, but I'll tell you what are these documents and what is their importance. I was involved in one of the investigations where the person was involved in the process of ship sinking, and we learned a lot. Hello?
Process of ship?
He was involved in ship sinking case.
Sinking case, okay. Sir.
Yeah. So I'll tell you the importance of documentation. I was expecting others to join fast, but it seems they must be busy, and first day is always a difficult day to come out of offices. So I'll start with the process, and in the meantime, in case anyone has problem, we'll discuss. Today is session number 14. I'll be talking about documentation. By now, you all would have learnt about the importance of documentation. Have you? Have you understood the importance of documentation?
Yes, sir.
Why?
Sir, this is the only thing that is going to pay off, sir.
Okay.
मतलब इसी के थ्रू जो है आप सारा legally strong रहते हो.
Tell me your names also because.
My name is Sir Pankaj Mittal, sir.
Yes, Pankaj. You would have heard about an instrument called LC.
Yes, sir.
Who said yes?
Sir Pankaj.
Sanjeev.
Harish, sir.
Harish. Sorry? You all have learned about LC. What is it?
Sir, letter of credit.
Letter of
Credit.
Why is it termed as letter of credit? Why is it called letter of credit? It is letter of blah 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 credit. So what is to be filled in these gaps?
Sir, all the details relating to the shipment, sir, actually.
So it should be called letter of shipment.
No, sir, actually the credit is given.
It's a guarantee that you will get your payment.
So if it is a site LC, you don't give credit. So why is it termed as letter?
Sir, at the site LC, the bank will discount the LC immediately, sir. Actually, he will get the credit.
Where is the credit? Where is the credit? Where is the credit then? Credit means udhar. You don't get udhar. If you are paid immediately, or the buyer is required to pay, or the issuing bank is required to pay immediately. So there is no udhar, no credit. So why is it termed as letter of credit?
Sir, that's because it is हिंदी में सर अगर हमने कहें तो बैंक जो है वो आपको गारंटी दे रहा है कि मतलब क्रेडिबिलिटी दे रहा है.
If you say if it is guarantee, it should be termed as LG, letter of guarantee. Why do we call it letter of credit?
This is all we could think of.
Okay.
So yes. At site we get the immediate payment, sir.
उधार नहीं है ना, credit का मतलब उधार. So there is no उधार.
नहीं sir.
उधार की गारंटी सर.
तो फिर then it is LCG.
Sir, actually, the thing is the payment is made by the bank. Sir, actually the importer has just to make the payment, sir.
Okay.
So that's why the letter of credit. But I think so, sir.
Okay. I have kept some gaps between letter of and credit. So what is to be filled in those gaps? So if you look at it, may I request to mute the mics, please? Those who have kept the mics open and having discussion, please mute the mics. So if I analyze this, I'll put it as letter of commitment issued by an institution of credibility. So that is why it is termed as letter of credit. Is that right? If I say LC is a commitment of the bank who replaces the buyer. Say, between buyer and seller, there is a contract. We call it sale contract. In this sale contract, seller gives a hidden message to buyer that Mr. Buyer, you are not trustworthy. He doesn't say in so many words. He doesn't say you are not trustworthy, but he says payment terms LC. It means that Mr. Buyer, I don't trust you. The seller gives a hidden message to him कि तू trustworthy नहीं है. You need to be replaced. You need to be replaced by someone whose credibility is more than yours. So who is that person? The buyer's bank. So buyer needs to be replaced by the buyer's bank. So should the buyer's bank agree to buyer's proposal? Should he agree? If the buyer comes to the bank and says, I intend to buy goods from MP Singh and he wants you to replace me. Say you have gone to Punjab National Bank and you say, Mr. Bank, replace me because I intend to buy goods from MP Singh, and he says, I need. Will you do that? Will your banker do that? Yes, Pankaj? Should your banker agree to your proposal?
Sir, if I may represent all the right documents.
So,
then
buyer's bank will replace buyer if he is confident about his repayment. See, the bank says, Mr. Buyer, I'll replace you if you provide me enough security. Security could be in the form of cash security, could be partially cash, partly tangible security, say property or any other asset, or it is partly cash, partly security, partly guarantee of a reputed person. So bank wants to be secured about the payment. Once the bank is secured, he gives a commitment to the seller, but this message doesn't go to him directly. So it is being advising bank.
This is in case of buyer, sir.
Yes. See, buyer. See what has happened between buyer and seller. There is a deal. The buyer says the buyer intends to buy from seller, but seller in the sale contract has given a hidden message to the buyer that Mr. Buyer, I don't trust you. कहता तो नहीं है, but he says payment terms LC. इसका मतलब है I don't trust you. You need to be replaced by someone whose credibility is more than yours. Is that right? LC ऐसे ही खुलती है ना कि seller goes to the buyer, gives him offer, buyer, and in that offer he says, Mr. Buyer, you need to be replaced by your banker. You give me a letter of credit. So buyer comes to the buyer's bank and says, I need to buy goods from seller, but he wants you to secure this payment. Should the banker agree to this proposal?
Only in case.
Normally, no, unless he is confident that yes, this man has capacity to repay the amount if I pay on his behalf. So if he is confident about repayment by the buyer, then only he gives this guarantee. So he gives this assurance, but he sends this message to the seller, not directly. Because if LC comes to you, you will not be comfortable whether it is a genuine credit or a fictitious credit. So this message from the buyer's bank comes to the advising bank, who in turn नहीं आ रहा हूँ.
No.
Just a minute, please. There is some technical problem. Are you able to see the
No,
things?
sir.
ये screen पे उनको नजर नहीं आ रहा. So the gentleman is doing something about the problem you are facing. I have written something on the screen.
Sir, we
Believe this.
haven't seen anything yet.
अच्छा, उन्होंने देखा ही कुछ नहीं अभी तक. मेरे
लिखा हुआ कुछ नहीं देखा सर अब तक. वो प्रेजेंटेशन थी आपकी.
नहीं ये some handwritten document. Are you able to see it now?
नो सर, जो आप पेंट में लिखते हो वो नहीं दिख रहा सर.
हाँ, वो पेन बोल रहे हैं नहीं आ रहा. क्यों नहीं
और
हो रहा
किसी को दिख रहा है तो सर मुझे पता नहीं. आई कैन नॉट सी दैट.
No, there seems to be some problem because that is what our technical person is doing something.
And because I saw the cursor moving, but I haven't seen anything being written over there.
Okay, just a minute, please. करें कुछ. क्यों प्रॉब्लम आती है? वही कह रहे थे. ये अब कैसे नजर आएगा? ये गया. अब दोबारा लिखो. हाँ, उनको ये तो चीज बेसिक है ना. ये चला गया. चलिए, I had written something which he says will not appear. I'll do it again. See, I said I am going to start with documentation. Documentation is important because of letter of credit. LC, are you able to see it now? Are you
Yes,
able
sir.
to? Okay.
Yes, sir.
So LC, I said, is a letter of commitment issued by an institution of credibility. Institution of credibility. That is why it is termed as letter of credit. A credible institution replaces. So far, Pankaj, Sanjeev, and Harish have stated that it is a kind of guarantee. So if it is guarantee, I said it should be termed as letter of guarantee. But LC is not a guarantee. I said LC's origin comes because between buyer and seller, there is a deal which is termed as sale contract. In this sale contract, the seller gives hidden message that he doesn't trust the buyer because he says payment terms LC. Which means, Mr. Buyer, you're not trustworthy. You need to be replaced by someone whose credibility is more than yours. So buyer comes to the buyer's bank. So I said buyer's bank should not open LC unless he is confident about repayment capacity of the buyer. So once he is confident about buyer's capacity, he sends message to the advising bank, who happens to be the seller's bank. So advising bank in turn sends this message to the seller, and this is called buyer's bank opens LC, and it is communicated to the seller. This is how the LC is being opened. So buyer is called the applicant of the credit. Seller is called the beneficiary of the credit. LC, buyer's bank is called the issuer of the credit or issuing bank of the credit. And seller's bank is the advising bank of the credit. This is how the LC operates. LC is the best but the worst mode of payment. Are you able to see this chart? Pankaj?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You said it is guarantee. I said it is not a guarantee. Let us see what is it. If I take it as guarantee, and indemnity, I say LC is a commitment or indemnity. LC is not a guarantee, because if it is a guarantee contract, there would have been three parties: the borrower, the lender, and the guarantor. The guarantor's liability is secondary. In indemnity contract, there are two parties: the indemnifier and indemnified. Indemnifier's liability is primary. Now let us see, where does LC fall? You said it is guarantee. I said it is not a guarantee. Do you feel LC is superior than guarantee, equal to guarantee, or inferior than guarantee? Pankaj? Pankaj, are you able to hear me? Participants, are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So tell me, is LC equal to guarantee, inferior than guarantee, or superior than guarantee? Yes, please.
Superior than guarantee, sir.
Superior than guarantee. Why superior?
Sir, in superior than guarantee in that case, because if you provide all the documents and fulfill all the conditions of the contract, you will get your payment, and that is secure.
And the guarantee also is the same thing. If you fulfill all the conditions, you will be paid.
Lekin guarantee is a secondary, sir. Actually, the LC is the primary one, sir.
What is primary and secondary?
Guarantee will came to existence when the buyer defaults in making the payment, sir.
Okay, that's very nice. See what happens in guarantee contract. The liability of guarantor would come at the second stage, which means suppose X has taken money from B. B borrower has taken money from L lender, and G has guaranteed it. Suppose B doesn't repay. The lender is required to exhaust all his efforts before he makes guarantor liable. So that means he would say, Mr. Lender, try to recover the amount from the borrower first. If you fail, then only come to me. So his liability or guarantor's liability comes at the second stage. Indemnity is...
But in that case, I have a question, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, as
मुझे पहले permit me to explain the things, नहीं तो मैं जो रट के मैं भूल जाऊंगा. ठीक है? So let me explain first, and then I'll answer your query. I'm not avoiding it, but let me complete. Maybe your query is answered. Now LC comes at the second stage. Here is LC issuing bank. I said there was a buyer. There was a buyer who is being replaced by buyer's bank. So buyer's bank's credibility is more than the buyer. So what has happened? The buyer's bank or the LC issuing bank is the buyer's bank, has replaced the buyer and has taken primary liability and indemnified his seller. So LC says, Mr. Seller, you ship the goods, tender the documents, and the LC issuing bank says, I'll pay you. So that means less credible buyer is being replaced by a very credible institution, which is the buyer's bank, and gives assurance for payment to the seller. So seller is not required to go to the buyer first. Had it been a guarantee contract, what would have happened? The LC would have said, Mr. Buyer, Mr. Seller, go to the buyer for recovery of your dues. If he doesn't pay, then only come to me. So bank would have come at the second stage. But here the bank has taken primary responsibility. Is that part clear, participants? Have you been able to understand the difference between the two? No, but LC is a dangerous document in the sense LC is based on the condition that the documents must be presented, must be, it is not should be, would be, must be presented as per the LC terms. So that means LC is based on a single principle that all documents as called for must be presented. If you present the correct set of documents, the issuing bank is liable to pay you. But if you don't present the documents correctly, then there is no guarantee, no assurance from the LC issuing bank. Is that clear? That LC is based on documents only. Is that clear?
Very much clear.
Okay. Now, if you read Article 5 of UCP, which controls the operations of LC, it says banks deal in documents, not in goods. So what happened? I'll tell you a very interesting story. It is a fact which happened in late 70s, early 80s. Taking clue from this article, a person by the name Bhagwan Singh Ujla had taken advantage of this. He said LC is an excellent business. Instead of manufacturing goods, he started manufacturing documents. He presented the right set of documents and never supplied the goods. And he was being paid because LC is based on the principle that documents must be in order. So we asked a question. So that means LC is a dangerous document. LC is a dangerous document in the sense in LC, the liability of bank means issuing bank or buyer's bank, buyer bank, BK means bank, is against the presentation of right set of documents. Right set of documents, or we call them compliant set of documents. This is not complaint, but compliant set of documents. So that means as long as you tender documents as called for in the credit, there is an assurance to the seller that you will be paid. So Bhagwan Singh Ujla decided that instead of manufacturing goods, start manufacturing documents. And he was being paid because documents were in order. So I said, LC is a dangerous instrument. That even if your goods are not up to the mark, but documents are correct, the payment will be made. So there were frauds. People started manufacturing documents rather than goods, and they were being paid. These sellers were being paid. So question was asked to International Chamber of Commerce, who have drafted the LC, that why have you included Article 5, wherein the bank's liability is against the documents, not against the goods. So it says banks deal in document, not in goods. Goods or merchandise to which. So it was a dangerous clause. Banks deal in documents. So we asked question to ICC, why have you done it? Is buyer meant for making the payment? Is he not interested in goods? So ICC, the chairman, Mr. Dr. Bernard Wiebel, came out with a reply. He said, why did LC come into existence? The answer was because there was arm twisting of the sellers. in the depleted market condition. Suppose the market falls, the buyer will find reasons to get out of deal. So they used to stop the payment or reduce the payment of the supplier. So there was arm twisting and depleted market condition. These worried sellers had gone to International Chamber of Commerce for some instrument which could protect them. So they devised an instrument which is called letter of credit. In letter of credit, who is closer to buyer's bank, the buyer or the seller? Participants, who is closer to the buyer's bank? Who issues the LC? Buyer is closer to the buyer's bank. So, agar buyer would have got say to stop the payment, he would have said in the depleted market condition, buyer would have gone to the buyer's bank and would have said, goods are not up to the mark, so don't pay. And bank would not have paid. Isliye, in letter of credit, the bank says, we deal in documents. And secondly, the bank said, we have not seen the goods. How can we guarantee that these are the same goods which the buyer has placed order for? Isliye, LC deals in documents, and documents, not with the goods or merchandise to which it represents. So, my dear friends, in order to understand or be successful in the international trade, LC is considered to be one of the safest method of payment. And LC is based on the principle of documents. So the college has kept a class for documentation, which I am going to discuss today. Okay? Now what happens? We learn from this problem. And I have made a principle in my company that the day we receive the letter of credit, my staff is instructed to make the documents, because there are two advantages. Normally what happens, when do you start preparing the documents? Those who are dealing with exports, please answer. When do you start preparing the documents? Participants who have done exports or are dealing with exports, when do you start making the documents?
The moment we get an order, sir.
The same day you make the document?
No, I start making different documents.
Like?
So starting from the beginning, I'll place the
Performa invoice.
Yes, sir. No, not invoice, sir.
Okay.
मतलब उसके लिए कि I have received the document. I have received the order, and according to that, I will secure this order so that I may represent that to my bank in order to get credit.
Okay.
To work.
Okay. No, but I said, when do you prepare the shipment documents? Shipping documents, when do you make?
Sir, the moment my order is ready.
When your goods are ready or you have dispatched the goods. Normally what happens, that is a mistake we do. We prepare documents after shipment. But I told you that we make documents before shipment. The advantage is, when you prepare the documents the day you receive the letter of credit, my staff has got two advantages. One, that they are at ease. Maybe my shipment will go after 3 months. I do not know how many pieces will be shipped. But we have made structure of documents. So my dummy set of documents are ready. I have to fill up the figures and dispatch the goods. I have to fill up the dates, etc. So my documentation work is done at ease. I am not in hurry to make documents. In LC, we have discussed that bank deals in documents only. So if your documents are ordered, the bank is bound to pay whether the goods are there or not there. Bank is bound to pay. So seller wants payment. Buyer wants goods. So seller's money is safe because as seller, my documents are in order. So we prepare the documents, and the second advantage is if any amendment is required to be done, we can get the amendment done because we have made the documents and we find the flaws in the letter of credit. So before starting the production, my department will inform the buyer that we have found such and such discrepancy. You get it amended, then only we'll start production. So I am not in worry or my staff is not worried that there'll be some problem at the last stage of documentation. Because if you start reading LC at the last stage, when you have to ship the goods, there is a possibility that there may be some mistakes in the letter of credit which you have omitted or not studied at the time when you received it. After making the goods, when you go to the buyer and say you need to get the LC amended, buyer would say, sorry, I am prepared to do it, but my bankers are not, so you have to shall say 25%. So I lose 25% amount just because I did not read the LC properly. So if you prepare the documents right at the time when you have received the LC, you get it amended before the production has started so that you don't lose money on account of follies of the issuer or the issuing bank or the buyer. Is that right? So take it as advice that prepare the documents right when you have received the credit. Because documents are the only method by which the money is paid under letter of credit. So documents occupy a very important place in the international trade transactions. Is that clear, participants? Yeah. Have you understood the documentation? Now we'll come to the types of documents used in exports. Exports, there are 24 types of documents, which are divided in two parts. Commercial and regulatory. There are 16 commercial documents, 8 regulatory. Some are amended, but broadly they are classified in two categories. Commercial documents are the ones which are required for commercial settlements, commercial activities of trade. For example, shipping the goods, claiming the amount. These are commercial activities. So those documents which are required for the trade activities are called commercial documents. There are some reporting documents, reporting to the government agencies. So those documents which are required for the government agencies are generally 8 in number. So normally we have 24 documents which are used in the trade. These commercial documents are the ones which are required to be sent to the buyer. So sent to buyer or his bank, or used for making those documents, for obtaining documents, obtaining commercial documents. So they are termed as commercial documents. They are termed as commercial documents. These commercial documents are further subdivided in two categories. Principal and auxiliary. Principal documents are sent to buyer. Auxiliary documents are required for making the commercial principal documents. Eight, and 8, and they make 24 documents. ये समझ में आया आप लोगों को? Have you understood? Sorry? Through the banks, your bank, you give it to your bank will send these documents to the buyer's bank. Is that right? So these are the ones which are sent to the buyer or the buyer's bank. So they are called principal commercial documents. And those documents which are required for obtaining the principal documents are known as auxiliary documents. They are called procedural documents. For example, If I need insurance, insurance is needed by the buyer. But to get insurance, I am required to apply for insurance. So application for insurance is called procedural document or auxiliary document. I don't need to send it to the buyer, but I need to send the principal document, that is the insurance policy, to the buyer. Is that clear? Is that clear, participants? Is that
Yes,
clear?
Yes, sir.
The response is not coming. Is that not clear, or is that clear?
Yes, sir. It's clear. Sir.
Okay. So I'll tell you that principal documents are 8 in number. And these are the ones which you must prepare very thoroughly, because your payment is coming against principal commercial documents. I said they are 8 in number. They are further subdivided in 3 parts: financial, trade, and control. These 8 documents are divided in 161 category. There is 1 financial document, there are 6 trade documents, and there is 1 control document. In the financial category, we have just 1 document, that is bill of exchange. Bill of exchange is the financial document which is required to be exchanged with the buyer or his banker for getting the payment. In trade category, we have 6 documents, starting with the invoice, the packing list, the certificate of origin, the pre-shipment inspection certificate, the shipping advice, and the insurance document. So there are 6 in number. 1.
Sir, can any buyer also ask you to send the photographs of loading and unloading?
Yes, he can ask. So I said these are additional documents which can be asked by him. To ensure that goods are actually loaded on the vessel, he can ask you. But I said normally in trade we come across 8 types of documents. But sometimes they ask for, say, blacklisting certificate. They want antiquity certificate, because in India, when you have to export the goods, you need to have the antique clearance. So those documents are in addition to the ones which are generally used in the trade. So I said these are 8 documents which
from
are...
which department, sir?
Sorry?
Anti-clearance from which department?
This is Archaeological Survey of India, ASI. So they issue that antiquity certificate. I suppose when these statues are being exported from the country, you would have seen you require to have clearance from the antique department that these are not the national heritage which is being exported from the country.
Or stolen one.
Yeah. So control document, there is 1 document in the control category, that is the transport document. When the goods are shipped by sea, it is bill of lading. In the case of sea shipment. When the goods are sent by air, it is airway bill. In the case of air dispatches, it is goods receipt. In the case of trucks, or we call it TR receipt, truck receipt, or goods receipt, we call it GR, TR, or motor receipt. Then when the goods are sent by railways, it is RR, railway receipt. When the goods are sent by post, it is postal receipt. Or when it is by courier, it is airway bill, courier airway bill. So these are the documents which are basically called the control documents. Bill of lading, airway bill, railway receipt, goods receipt are the ones which are required or considered as control documents. So you have to be very careful. I always start my lecture with this piece of advice: never ever assign goods to buyer buyer, but send them to the buyer's bank. I'll show you that document. See, I said in the consignee column, you should try to negotiate that in the consignee column, don't consign goods to buyer. Always consign them to buyer's bank. I have stated Bank of America, New York. And here I write buyer ABC Now the advantage is, if you have consigned the goods to the buyer's bank, he will not be able to take the possession of goods. As a prudent seller, I would not like the buyer to have the possession till he has deposited his money in the bank or he has contacted the bank. So when you consign goods to the buyer's bank, the advantage is that buyer will not be able to get possession of goods. Isliye, always try to negotiate with at the time of contract that goods will be consigned to the buyer's bank and not to the buyer. ये बात आप लोगों को समझ में आ गई? Have you understood this concept? Okay. So, but if your LC says consign them to the buyer, then you have no choice. Then you have to consign the goods to the buyer. But when you are negotiating with the buyer, tell him that you will not consign goods to him, so that if the buyer doesn't pay, at least you are able to get back those goods. If the buyer gets the control of goods, you will be left with no choice but to agree to his terms if he doesn't pay. So my dear friends, always try to consign goods to buyer's bank and not to the buyer. This is number one. This was advice I wanted to give you, because you are already in the trade, you are experienced, many of you are already doing it, but many a times I have found that people play with the sentiments of innocent suppliers and they take away their goods without paying the amount. Because if the possession of goods has not gone to the buyer, you have advantage of renegotiating the terms with the buyer, or you can call back the goods and sell them in the local market. If the buyer has taken possession of goods, then you will be lost with the opportunity of selling them in the domestic market or finding an alternate buyer.
So, can you please provide us a contract, sample contract?
I'm not carrying it today, but maybe in the last class when we come for panel discussion, I'll try to bring the copy of contract for you.
Also, you can also mail, sir.
I'll do that.
I'll ask you on an email.
Okay.
Thank
I'll
you.
try to do it. Or I'll ask Tulika madam to provide you the copy of contract.
Sir.
Yes.
Hello, sir.
Yes. Continue, please.
Sir, in case of any disputes, for example, if the buyer takes the good and doesn't pay off, what are the jurisdiction where the seller can go for?
Okay.
Is there any compliance for that?
Okay. I'm not teaching contract today, but anyway, because you have raised this point, I must tell you that at the time of contract, the last but not the least clause in the contract is the jurisdiction point. See, last clause in the contract should be, in case of dispute, there are three ways of resolving the dispute: either by conciliation, arbitration, or litigation. Conciliatory are friendly out of court settlement. This is friendly method of settlement. The buyers and sellers try to negotiate out of court by giving some concessions, etc., and the disputes are resolved. Arbitration is a expeditious method of settlement in the trade disputes. So, but it should be mentioned at the time of contract. But suppose you have omitted both these points. Then the last option is go for litigation. Litigation means initiating legal action. Now the question is, where should this action be initiated? Where to file a suit against the party dispute in the case of disputes? So legal action can be initiated at the place which is mentioned in the contract. So we say, when you buy things, you must have observed at the end they mention subject to jurisdiction of Delhi court. That means if there is any dispute in this sale, you must come to Delhi court and file a suit there. Similarly, in the international contracts, we say in case of dispute, the litigation can be initiated in Indian courts or Delhi court, and Indian law would apply. So that means you have made it very clear. But will you permit me to complete my statement, please?
Okay, sir.
But suppose you have omitted this point. Now you are stuck and there is a dispute. So in one of the cases, House of Lords said that international disputes cannot be restricted to the boundaries. So they have introduced the concept of natural forum. They said that in the case of international disputes, if the point of litigation or the process of litigation is not stated, then the whole world is the jurisdiction where both the parties have office of profit. So that becomes a natural jurisdiction when both the parties have office of profits. So isliye it is very wide term. If you don't mention the jurisdiction point, then the jurisdiction or the whole world becomes the jurisdiction for such disputes. So it is always advised that at the time of contract, we must mention that where would this dispute be resolved or where would it be initiated. Is that right? Now you can ask your question if it is not answered.
Sir, what I want to ask you is this. In this question, most of the cases must be arbitration rather than litigation.
Yes, that is what I am saying.
Sir, is there any...
Commercial disputes are the ones where evidence is not required. So when evidence is not required, why should we go for litigation? It is something which is to be resolved by someone who knows the law and who knows the practice. So easily arbitration is considered to be the best method of settlement in trade disputes. But when it is a case of criminal nature, then you need evidence and there you need litigation. So commercial disputes are generally resolved by arbitration, but you cannot initiate arbitration if you have not mentioned at the time of contract. So you are required to mention at the time of contract that arbitration will be the methodology of disputes in case if at all it happens. Yes, please.
But there is also arbitration as well as litigation, sir.
No. See, litigation is something, when you are not satisfied with the arbitration proceedings, then you go for litigation. Okay? So litigation is something which is always open to you. But arbitration is not open unless you have mentioned it. So
I agree with that, sir.
Okay?
So is there any international arbitration house in India?
ICC, International Chamber of Commerce arbitration, is considered to be the best. And London is the place where people prefer, because London courts are considered to be quite matured, and ICC, International Chamber of Commerce arbitration, is considered to be the best one. But in case of Indian matters, it is Indian Council of Arbitration, Tansen Mark New Delhi. ICA arbitration is considered to be the best for Indian contracts. Okay? So when you are signing the contract for exports, try to include ICA arbitration, because they are considered to be a good body and quite matured body for settling the trade disputes. So coming to
FICCI.
Yes, FICCI. They have office in FICCI.
I have been to their office.
Okay. But they are considered to be quite good agency as far as the arbitration matters are concerned.
Yes, sir, they are.
ICC is a very expensive arbitration. For example, suppose there is a dispute between Air India and Boeing or Airbus. They would like to have ICC's arbitration. Normally these happen in London, so that they want neutral bodies. In such cases, because buyer would like not in the seller's country, or seller would not like to get it resolved in the buyer's country, because there could be some biased opinions. So they would like to go to a neutral place. That is how ICC's arbitration or the London litigation is considered to be the best one, because the London courts are considered to be quite neutral. Okay. So coming back to documentation, I said documentation is I said these are 8 commercial documents which are required to be exchanged at the time of sending the goods. Now I'll show you a flow chart. You don't need to remember these documents, because my professor has made the thing so clear that you don't need to cram these documents. In export documentation, I said there are generally 24 documents which are being exchanged, and these are the ones which are given in the. So today, if you are involved, I have given you notes pertaining to documents. I have stated that this is the system. These are the documents. These are the documents list containing these 24 documents which are generally exchanged. Then I have given you the system. These are various documents whose explanation is given in these slides. So there are 54 slides with pertaining to the literature, but I'll discuss it in a systematic manner, and I'll explain you the role of different documents. In exports, there are 12 agencies generally involved in the process of exports. And I said there are 24 documents which are generally exchanged. See, in 1991, Government of India made an attempt to simplify the documentation process. Because when you have to prepare 24 documents, it is quite a tedious job. So United Nations suggested that instead of making the export process so complicated, make it as simple as possible. So in 1960, Sweden had introduced a system whereby they made the documentation easy. And immediately 31 years after that system was introduced, on 1st October 1991, we had introduced a system called a line documentation system. ADS, which has made the life of Indian exporters much easier. So instead of making so many documents, now you are required to have just 2 masters. What is alignment? What is alignment?
To carry 2 things in a similar way.
Right. So instead of making so many documents, now we make only 2 documents. Instead of making 24 documents, we make 2. They are called masters, MD1, MD2, master document 1 and master document 2. I said we have 2 sets of documents. One is commercial. So commercial documents are made out of MD1 and regulatory documents are made out of MD2. Regulatory documents remain in our country, so there's not too much worry. But commercial principal documents are to be sent, so they were worried about the commercial documents कि उसमें गलती ना हो जाए. I said we have 16 commercial documents, out of which 14 have been standardized. So instead of making 16 documents, just by making one master document 1, most of the documents can be created. So they have made the life of Indian exporters much simpler. So the master document, aligned document system has made the life simple because we are required to make only one master. The set of documents can be generated with economy and speed. Extra copies can be generated without much effort. Speed is faster, customer services improve, handling becomes easier, amendment procedure is simpler, and out of 16, I said 14 documents have been standardized. Out of these, the two documents which are not being standardized is the shipping order and the bill of exchange. Barring these two documents, everything is simple now. In the regulatory category, we have 4 documents which are standardized. I'll be discussing. So, iska matlab, instead of making 24 documents, by making 2 masters, major things are being done. But since these softwares are available, we can use those softwares which will make the life of Indian exporters simpler now. So we are going to discuss in systematic manner about the documentation so that you are able to understand that how does documentation flow in the system. I said the commercial activity starts by this flow chart. I have used abbreviation C for commercial document, A for auxiliary document, CP is commercial principal document, and R is regulatory document. So you'll be finding that I have used certain abbreviations here.
Sir, can you please repeat again, sir?
I'll do that. I said wherever I have stated C, it means commercial document.
Commercial document. Okay,
yes,
sir.
I said there are 2 types of documents, commercial and regulatory. And R abbreviation is used for regulatory document. If you see my classification of documents, I have stated there are 2 types of documents, commercial and regulatory. In the commercial category, I have stated the total documentation of exports, I said, is divided in 2 parts, commercial and regulatory. I said they are 16 and 8. Commercial documents are further subdivided in 2 parts. Some are sent to the buyer, they are called principal commercial documents. And some are used for making those principal documents and they are called auxiliary documents. So they are 8. So I have used abbreviation C for commercial document.
CP and CA.
Ab C mein either it is A, auxiliary commercial auxiliary document, or I have used abbreviation P, commercial principal document. So the one which is sent to the buyer is called principal. The one which is used for preparing those principal documents are called auxiliary documents, but they are commercial in nature. And R abbreviation is used for regulatory documents. Is that clear? I have used abbreviation CA means commercial auxiliary document. CP is commercial principal document. R abbreviation is used for regulatory document. Is that clear? Clear, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen? Can we start with the flow chart now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And I said this is such a systematic flow chart. If you are involved today, you don't need to remember these documents again. See, I said there are 12 agencies involved in the export process and there are 24 documents. Now these agencies or the persons who are interested in the activity is the seller, the buyer, the inspection agency, the insurance company, the shipping line, the clearing agency, the custom department now, because with the introduction of GST system, now port trust authorities, Reserve Bank of India, Chamber of Commerce, and commercial agencies. Nature of documents. we have used the abbreviation CACP or R. So first and foremost activity, the documents which are not sent with the final set of documents but are commercial in nature are called commercial auxiliary document. The final set of document which goes with the final set of documents is called commercial principal document. Is that clear? Is that concept clear? Is that concept clear, participants?
No,
I said,
Yes, sir.
you need to have two types of documents. Some are required for reporting to the government agencies, for example, customs, for example, port trust, for example, Reserve Bank of India. They are called regulatory documents. They are abbreviated as R in this flowchart. But I said there are certain documents which are required to be exchanged with the buyer or the buyer's bank with the for getting your payment or for sending your goods. They are called commercial documents. Commercial documents are further subdivided in two parts. There are certain documents which are required only for procedural activity. For example, I said intimation for inspection. When the goods are to be inspected, you give a notice to the inspection agency. But is the buyer interested in that procedure? Answer is no. So I don't give intimation copy to the buyer. So it is only a procedural document. So we term it as commercial auxiliary document. But what is buyer interested in? Pre-shipment inspection certificate. So after you give notice for inspection, the inspection agency would depute their officers. They'll come and they'll issue the inspection certificate. So that document travels with the final set of documents. So we call it commercial procedural document. Is that clear? Or principal document. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
The gentleman who said no earlier, is
No,
he?
now it's clear, sir.
Okay, very nice. Now, I said, whenever the commercial activity starts, सबसे पहले आप क्या करते हैं? You exchange the performer invoice. You send your offer. Good evening. Just a minute, Madam Kati is here. Would you like to do? Not a problem. Not a problem. Can you come? Would you like? Just a minute, Madam. Kati would like to have a word with you.
Good evening to you all.
Good evening, madam.
And I am
Good
sure.
evening.
Good evening. So, how is the course going on?
Fantastic, madam.
Fantastic.
Excellent, ma'am.
Yes. And Dr. MP Singh is extremely good, as you can see. Dr. MP Singh has actually, I really got stuck in the traffic, so I could not come and introduce you to him. Introduce him to you. The beauty of Dr. MP Singh is that he is himself MBA, PhD, and he has been, I don't have his formal introduction, but I know this much. He has been a faculty on this particular area. He is expert in export procedures, documentation, Incoterms. You talk about all these things and he has all the experience and expertise. He is himself an exporter. He has established business in China, in Dubai, and you cannot get anybody better than him. He has written the books also, and he is as good as our own faculty. We call him a guest faculty, but for all the programs we depend on him. He is always very much helpful to us. He is so much gracious. At times he has really cancelled his classes somewhere, and he has come and he has helped me out. So I am extremely grateful to Dr. MP Singh. He has been a real pillar for us for this particular program. And I am really sorry for disturbing the flow in which he was going, but I thought I must place on record my gratitude for Dr. MP Singh. Thanks a lot, Dr. MP Singh.
He's a mentor to us, ma'am.
Huh?
He's a mentor to us, ma'am.
Yeah. And you ask all your questions, whatever are your practical problems, you will get the answer from Dr. MP Singh. Thank you very much, Dr. MP Singh, and I am sorry for disturbing. Please go ahead.
Thank you so much, madam. I'm really grateful. She talks very high words about me, which I don't deserve. I'm just a student. She has been very kind and gives me a chance to interact with people. Thank you so much, madam. See, commercial activity starts with the invoice. Whenever we are ready with the goods, the first thing we do is we prepare the invoice. In domestic word, it is called the bill. In commercial word, it is called, in international word, we call it invoice. There are 6 types of invoices used in the trade. Are you able to hear me, participants?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Commercial invoice is called the bill. Who all need? Everyone, except Reserve Bank of India. Reserve Bank is the only agency in the entire 12 agencies which doesn't require invoice, because Reserve Bank is not your banker. Reserve Bank is your banker's banker. So they say, submit this copy to the commercial bank. So barring Reserve Bank of India, everybody needs invoice. I said the invoices can be broadly classified in 6 categories. If you look at my notes, you will get idea about these different types of invoices. But hurriedly, I'll tell you, commercial invoice is called the bill, wherein you give details about the shipments, the buyer's name, the seller's name, the details of goods being supplied, the number of units supplied, the unit price, the total value, the terms of payment, the terms of delivery. Everything is being mentioned in the commercial invoice. Before the commercial invoice, we have pro forma invoice, wherein the seller gives the offer to the buyer, he accepts, it becomes agreement, and if it is enforceable in law, it becomes contract. So one is pro forma invoice, the other is commercial invoice. But sometimes the buyer wants, or the buyer's country wants, this document to be certified by legally constituted agencies like Chamber of Commerce. So it is called legalized invoice. Legalized invoice is the one which is nothing but commercial invoice. Commercial invoice countersigned by legally constituted agencies like Chamber of Commerce is called legalized invoice. Sometimes legal agency is not there, or say inspection agency is a legalized invoice, or when it is countersigned by Ministry of External Affairs, it is called legalized invoice. Then we have notarized invoice. Notarized invoice is the one which is commercial invoice countersigned by notary public, which happens to be man of the court. So commercial invoice duly countersigned by notary public is called notarized invoice. Then we have special custom invoice. Special custom invoice is the one which is prepared according to the custom authorities' requirements. So they want to see the breakup of cost. They design this invoice. This is called special custom invoice. Or we have counselor's invoice. Counselor's invoice is the one signed by the consulate of the buyer's country. For example, I am sending goods to Saudi Arabia. They want the commercial invoice to be countersigned by the consulate of Saudi Arabia in India. So you are required to go to the consulate, submit the document, and they sign it. But for getting the signature, you are required to pay the cost to them. These are some of the documents which are required in addition to the ones which we have talked about. So I said, if you look at the invoice, invoice is nothing but a bill being raised by the seller on the buyer for the cost of goods. But these invoices can be broadly classified, or they are...
do they normally get it done, sir, by embassy, sir?
Yeah, many a times it is required. So at the time of contract, the buyer has to spell out, because you may not be aware of the law of that country. So he has to spell out that what all documents are required to be submitted with the final set of documents.
So is there anything that can be done by us to know the technical knowledge of these things?
Yeah. So the best thing is, when you refer to book by Dr. Ram Singh, It is. I'll give you the name of that book in the last session when I come for the panel discussion. I'll tell you his book's name. Otherwise, you can refer to the trade journals, or you can go to the chamber of Export Promotion Council and ask for the documents which are required by different countries. So you will get an idea that what all documents are required, because when you are placing the order, you have to be aware of the cost, because documentation or getting it countersigned by the consulate is very expensive exercise. Sometimes they charge you as high as 1% of the FOB value of goods. So you have to be very careful. And if you know about it, yes, you can quote the right price. So it is advisable that before starting your commercial activity, you must be aware of the cost, because that can be quoted or included in the price of the goods. Is that right? So Chamber of Commerce or the Export Promotion Council can give you. Otherwise, you refer to Dr. Ram Singh's book on documentation and procedures, and you will come to know about the costing part. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So commercial
Can I ask you one more thing, sir?
Yes, please. Yes,
so
please.
why do they custom people need performa invoice, sir?
Custom need invoice because as per Indian law, you cannot export the goods unless there is a contract. Now, internationally, you can have verbal contracts also. But custom says, what if the goods are rejected? He says, I never placed the order. There should be some evidence to show that there was some contract or some exchange of information being done by the buyer and seller. Or it should be letter of credit. So they want a definite evidence that between buyer and seller there was some deal. Isliye Indian law says for export or import you need to have contract copy which should be seen by the customs. Is that clear?
So it is an contract copy in the form of performa invoice.
Yeah, that's right. So they say there should be some evidence that there was something exchanged between buyer and seller. Because what happens, many a times when it is verbal contract or verbal order, then buyer may say, I never placed the order. I had never asked for these goods. So custom wants to ensure that right goods are being dispatched from the country. Because if there is a bad supply, it not only spoils the image of that supplier, it spoils the image of the country as a whole. And custom is one of the custodians of keeping the image of the country internationally. So they want some document to be exchanged, which should be produced to them at the time of dispatch, of course. So they ask for copy of contract.
So why isn't quotation over here, sir?
That is what I said. I have used the word invoice, but invoice becomes agreement, and then if it is enforceable in law, it becomes contract. So I could have stated it could be quotation, it could be performa invoice, it could be agreement, or it could be contract. So anything which gives an evidence that there was something exchanged between buyer and seller, which custom wants to see. Is that clear? Is that clear? So I don't mean performa invoice only exactly. It could be any evidence which shows that there was exchange of information between buyer and seller, which has been duly accepted by both the parties.
Sir, one question is there, sir. As a cautious seller, sir, what conditions we should incorporate in the every performa invoice to safeguard our interest, sir?
That is what the gentleman has said. I'll try to bring the copy of contract in my last class. Okay. I'll give you the normal conditions. I'll try to bring the copy of contract, but remind me a day before, because we are meeting on 16th. You must remind me on 15th, because I'll be traveling. Between 13th, 14th, I'll be out. 15th, I'll land in Delhi, and 16th, I have a class with you. So just remind me on 15th, because immediately after landing, I'll pull the copy of contract and bring it here, so that you get an idea that how does contract look like internationally, and what are the conditions to be incorporated in it.
You need to be reminded on email or through WhatsApp.
Yes, you can send me a mail. So because I'll be traveling, so what happens, I have a lot of engagements, business engagements as well. So I forget at times. I'm an old man, I'm not a young man like you. So just remind me, I'll pull that contract and bring it on the date of discussion, panel discussion on 16th.
Can you provide your email ID, sir?
I have provided, but at the end of the lecture, I'll provide you again. I gave you in my last class. I'm the same man who came for Incoterms. Okay, so let us first finish these 24 documents and then we'll talk about the other things. Commercial invoice is something which is needed by the buyer. So any document which is sent with the final set of documents is called commercial principal document. Performa invoice is also exchanged with the buyer, but we don't send it with the final set of document. So I have termed it as commercial auxiliary document, or we call it only procedural document. But invoice is required to be sent with the final set of document. We call it commercial principal document. Along with yes, please.
In the case of performa invoice, like there are two options: signature of seller and signature of the buyer, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, actually, when we are trading with someone, so the buyer is situated somewhere in the.
So what should you have? You should have buyer signature with you.
Yes, sir.
And buyer should have your signatures. So what happens? You exchange. You send your document to him, and he sends his document to you. So आपके पास his signatures are required, or उसके पास your signatures are required, because you can always sign later also. So
okay,
that
sir.
is the document you exchange. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Along with the invoice, you are required to give the details of packing. This is called packing list. In trade, we have two documents called packing note and packing list. What is packing note? What is packing note? See, I am sending 100 cartons containing ready-made garments, but in each carton there could be different product. So seller is required to keep a note of all these cartons, all these boxes detail or drums detail, that what had he dispatched in different boxes or bags or drums, so that he can provide information to the buyer. Now what happens? Say I am sending 200 cartons, corrugated boxes, जिसमें garments are being put in. Say 1 to 50 boxes contain men's garment. So I say 1 to 50 boxes containing men's garment. 51 to 150 contain ladies' garment. 151 to 200 contain kids' garment. So this is called list. Consolidation of packing note becomes the packing list. So packing list goes along with the invoice. Sometimes it is packing list, invoice come packing list. Sometimes it is invoice and packing list. And both these documents are sent to the buyer. पर एक note आपके पास रखते हैं. You as seller keep a note of what has been contained in different boxes. That note is called packing note, and consolidation of packing notes is called packing list. So seller is required to give details of packing in the packing list. This document is also exchanged with all those agencies who need invoice. So packing list is consolidation of note. Now suppose buyer says, Mr. MP Singh, I have not received the box number 36. Please send me goods. Or tell me what was contained in box number 36. Unless I have noted this in my records, I will not be able to tell him that what was being dispatched. Isliye seller keeps a record of different boxes, so that in case of replacement or resending the goods, he can immediately replace the goods and send them. Or he sees repeat order contained in box number 36. So if you have note of it, you can immediately do it. So packing note is the one which is kept by the seller as note for the goods in each box. And consolidation of these notes is called packing list, which goes along with the other documents. So packing list is needed, is sent along with the invoice. Since it goes with the final set of documents, it is called commercial principal document. Is that clear?
Yes, sir. Why do Chamber of Commerce need it, sir? In case of litigation?
See, I said normally it is commercial invoice come packing list, or it is commercial invoice and packing list. So all those agencies, if you don't submit, they will not ask for it. But normally what happens, we have a system that along with the invoice, we submit the copy of packing list as well. So it goes to them. But it is not compulsory. You are right that Chamber of Commerce doesn't need it. It is right that sometimes the clearing agent, the shipping line also doesn't need, or insurance company doesn't need the invoice, the packing list. So I am saying normally they ask for this document, or it is as a matter of routine, it is being submitted along with the invoice. Sometimes it is commercial invoice come packing list. Many a times the buyer says, don't send me separate list, send me the packing list along with the invoice. So naturally, when you are submitting this document to the agencies where you are submitting the commercial invoice, this document will also go. Is that clear? So commercial principal document is the one which is sent with the final set of documents. Indian law is very strict. If you supply a bad product, it spoils the image of the exporter. But not only the exporter, the country's image is also affected. So it is advisable, or sometimes it is mandatory, that goods must be inspected by someone before the dispatch of goods. And especially in the case of letter of credit, you are all along relying on the statements given by the seller that he has supplied you goods. So it is desired that some independent agency should also inspect the goods before they are being dispatched. Or sometimes it is a statutory requirement in the buyer's country. For example, if you are exporting to Africa, there is a mandatory clause that goods must be inspected by SGS. So it could be commercial decision, it could be a mandatory decision, or it could be an advisable decision. Because sometimes the buyer says your goods are not up to the mark.
But SGS
you
is
have,
laboratory.
let me complete my statement, please. Sometimes the buyer says, or his intentions have gone bad, or the market has fallen, he would try to wriggle out of obligation. If your goods are inspected by some inspection agency who has given the quality certificate, that certificate will go in favor of supplier. So it is desirable that you should get the goods inspected before they are being dispatched. Yes, please, you had a question.
Sir, what I'm trying to ask you is this: SGS is in laboratory, sir.
Sorry? SGS is an inspection agency. Society of General Superintendents is an inspection agency. When you are exporting to Africa, say Kenya, they want SGS representative to be present at the time of loading of goods, and that they draw samples, submit the laboratory report, which goes along with the documents. Is that right?
Sir. I had a knowledge because NEFED takes SGS as their authority to validate the goods.
Yeah. So what happens? They depute their officers. This is an inspection agency, very reputed agency of the world. They depute their officers. They depute their officers who conduct inspection, and then this goes to their lab and they issue the necessary certificate.
Sir, can I write it, sir? SGS?
Society of General Superintendents. I'll write for you. Just a minute, please. It is Society of General Superintendents.
They are based all over India?
They are based not all over India, they are based worldwide.
But we have to think of India.
So India, they have got various offices. At least in metros, they have the presence, and they can depute their officers to other places as well.
So can we also ask for
voluntarily? Yes, you can ask for voluntary inspection. See the advantage. मैंने क्या कहा? Sometimes the smart sellers get the inspection done. India has a law called Export Quality Control and Inspection Act 19. We have an act called Export Quality Control and Inspection Act 1963. According to this act, many goods are placed under compulsory inspection. You have to get them inspected before dispatch. See what has happened. LC is a dangerous document. If the supplier submits the right set of documents as Bhagwan Singh did, the buyer has to pay, or the buyer's bank has to pay the amount. Isliye, inspection, India says ki before the dispatch of goods, they are required to be inspected. So we have voluntary inspection, we have compulsory inspection. But the advantage is, suppose the buyer's intentions go bad. Your goods are not under compulsory inspection under this act, but you can still get them voluntarily inspected. This is called voluntary inspection. One is compulsory inspection. Before, for some goods, you cannot dispatch unless they are compulsory inspected. So compulsory inspection can be further subdivided in three parts: CWI, IPQC, and SCS. These are various types of inspections which are being used in the trade. Sorry? CWI, I'll change the page. If you look at my notes, everything is given there. So permit me to complete these 24 columns, and then if time permits, we'll go through those notes. You will find these notes containing all this information. I have explained about them, but still if it is not clear, on 16th I'll come again and I'll answer your queries. Okay? Permit me to explain these 24 documents so that you get an idea that how does documentation flow in the system. Okay? Okay. So what happens before you start the inspection process? The seller is required to give intimation to the inspection agency. So he says, get my goods inspected. They'll depute their officer. So it is only a procedure. Buyer is not interested that how did you get your certificate. He is only interested in the pre-shipment inspection certificate. So I said the procedural document is intimation, whereby the seller gives intimation to the inspection agency that get my goods inspected, depute your officer on such and such date, and they'll come and see the goods. If they find the goods in order, they issue a certificate which is called pre-shipment inspection certificate, which travels. Suppose you have asked for STS inspection, you would have given intimation to them and they would have deputed their officers. Then they issue the inspection certificate, or you say lab certificate, which is needed by the buyer, because in Africa you cannot get the goods cleared unless it is accompanied by STS certificate. So seller submits that document and buyer needs that document for the clearance of goods. Inspection agency issues the certificate. I said in our country, custom is the custodian of good reputation of the country. So custom looks at this document. Commercial banks also ask for this document. Since it travels with the final set of documents, it is called commercial principal document. Is that clear? Now your goods are inspected. You as a prudent seller would not like to move the goods from the factory unless you have got them insured. We have discussed that if it is your responsibility, for example, if it is CIF contract, you are duty bound to obtain the insurance certificate. But I have suggestive insurances. I suggested one insurance in the case of FOB, FCA contracts. What is that insurance called? Seller's contingency insurance. So my dear friends, seller's contingency is something which is proposed insurance for the cases where the goods are under FOB contracts where buyer is supposed to take the insurance. But here we are talking of CIF contract where the seller is required to obtain the insurance. So he applies for insurance. Where does he apply? To the insurance company. And buyer is not interested in this document. It is only a procedure whereby the seller gives request to the insurance company to conduct the inspection. He writes about the details of goods. He writes about the value of goods, the details of shipment, and he comes to the insurance company. Insurance.
But this is only in case if we are getting our good.
If it is CIF contract and you are required to give insurance.
But if we have to get the goods insured, then
sorry.
अगर हमारे जो कॉन्ट्रैक्ट के हिसाब से हमें ही जो गुड्स जो है वो इंश्योर करना है, तब तो ये सबको दिया जाएगा ये डॉक्यूमेंट.
नहीं, ये एप्लीकेशन है ना. This application seller gives to the insurance company. कि मेरी insurance कर दीजिए.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, this is only a procedural document. So I said this is auxiliary document.
Got it.
Law says you are rendering a service to the buyer, and as per FEMA, if you are rendering service, you are required to give an undertaking that you will realize this amount. This is a statutory requirement of FEMA. Isliye, when you go to the insurance company and they say 5 lakh rupiah is your insurance premium, you cannot pay them cash or check unless it is accompanied by a certificate called rupee premium certificate. The exporter gives an undertaking to the insurance company that accept these rupees and we'll realize this amount in foreign currency in due course of time. This is called rupee premium certificate, which is to be given to insurance company. Then only they'll accept your insurance premium, and this is a regulatory requirement. This is required as per FEMA. Isliye this is called regulatory document or government document. Now, if you have applied for insurance, you have paid rupee premium certificate, insurance company will issue the insurance policy, which is required by the seller, obtained by the seller, sent to the buyer, issued by the insurance company, is also needed by the clearing agent, is also needed by the bank. Since this travels with the final set of documents, it is called commercial principal document. Is that clear? Now, as a prudent seller, I should not move my goods from the factory. Ab meri goods are prepared. You have made the invoice. You have made the packing list. You have got them inspected. You have got them insured. Now I have to move the goods from the factory. As a prudent traveler, when you have to travel, yes, Pankaj, how do you travel? If you have to travel to Bombay, do you just go to the airport or you do something before that?
So I get my tickets.
You get your ticket reserved. Similarly, when I have to move the cargo from my factory, as a prudent seller, I reserve the space. I book my space with the shipping line on a particular vessel. This is called shipping order. Shipping order is something which is called space reservation done by the seller or sometimes by the clearing agent with the shipping line. And buyer is not interested that whether you have booked the space or not. He is interested that you have got the document which shows that shipment is done before the expiry of order. Is that right? So this is only a procedure you follow whereby you reserve the space with the shipping line. Now what happens? You have got the goods insured, you have got the goods inspected, you have reserved the space. Now you have to move the goods from the factory. But as per Indian law, the goods cannot enter the port area unless, sorry? May I request you to mute your mics, please? So you call the person who is handling your activity at the port. You give him instructions to handle the activity in a stipulated manner. So these are known as shipping instructions. The shipping instructions are given by the seller to the clearing agent, and this is only a procedure. Buyer is not interested in them.
Previously you were saying you cannot go to the custom, then
yes.
Some interruption was there.
Just a minute. Let me call the gentleman. Now there is no ARE procedure, it is called GST procedure. Now the GST procedure, sorry, you said something, I missed it.
Sir, when you were describing shipping instruction.
Yeah, I said because port trust is a prohibited zone. Port says it is not a training center where anyone can come. 1 minute. So they say this activity should be handled by experts. यहाँ पर ना ARE की जगह GST procedure कर दीजिए. So what happens? The exporter will call someone who is expert. They are called CHAs, Custom House Agents. They are the ones who are experts, and they are called, this activity is being done by the clearing agent. So exporter will call, नहीं यहाँ पर यार ये GST procedure कर दो, ये GST यहाँ पर कर दो, हाँ, excise की जगह GST का. क्लियरिंग एजेंट कर दो, यहाँ पर जीएसटी कर दो। इसको सेव कर लो, मैंने लास्ट टाइम भी करवाया था। यहाँ पर जीएसटी प्रोसीजर कर दीजिए, ठीक है। Because port trust is a prohibited zone. Everyone cannot enter there. So what happens? You assign this job to the clearing agent, but the clearing agent is to be informed that how to handle the cargo. These are known as shipping instructions. I said this is only a procedural activity. So the buyer is not interested. So we call it commercial auxiliary document. Then you are required to get the GST activity being done. The clearing agent has to submit those documents, and this is a regulatory activity. What happens? Once you have assigned this job to the clearing agent, he would be doing this activity at the port. Earlier, he was required to file the shipping bill manually, and he was required to give GR form separately. But with effect from the new systems which has been introduced at the ports, it is called EDI system. Instead of filing this document manually, this information is to be submitted on the server, and the system will generate the shipping bill. In that shipping bill, the exporter is required to give an undertaking that he would realize the full export proceeds within stipulated time in stipulated manner. Earlier, this was called GRPP Softex or SDF form. It was a guarantee given by the exporter, wherein the Reserve Bank of India was interested that he would realize the full export proceeds in stipulated manner. But these two have been merged now. You don't need to have these documents separately. These two have become just one document, and this is a regulatory requirement. Is that clear?
No, sir.
See what happens when you export.
Okay.
When you export, you are required to give a declaration to custom that you are shipping such and such goods. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
So that is called shipping bill.
Okay.
You are also required to give an undertaking to Reserve Bank of India that you will realize the full export proceeds. So you give a guarantee. GR was a guarantee given by the exporter that he would realize the full export proceeds. When the goods were being sent by post parcels, you were required to give this declaration on post parcel form, or we called it PP form. When software export is being done, not manually, but through internet system, the exporter was required to give the declaration about the software. This was known as Softex form. And SDF is statutory declaration form, whereby exporter was required to give an undertaking that he would realize the full export proceeds. आप जब भी export करते हैं, आपको दो चीजें देनी होती हैं. What is being exported, and you will realize the export proceeds. And this document is a regulatory requirement. Pehle these two documents were being filed separately, but under the new system, you don't need to file these documents. You feed this information on the customs site, ice gate jisko bolte hain. The server will generate the shipping bill, and on that shipping bill there will be a declaration which was the same as appeared in GRPP Softex form. Usme exporter bolta hai ki Mr. Reserve Bank of India, I will realize the full export proceeds within stipulated time in stipulated manner as required in FEMA. So aapko ye document, now you don't have to file these documents separately, but you file that information. So I have stated under EDI system, you file that annexure and system will generate the shipping bill along with the declaration. Is that clear?
Yes, sir. This is clear. So what do you mean to say by full export proceed? That payment will be received?
Yes.
जो एक वो mandatory वो होता है.
Yes, mandatory requirement under section 9 of FEMA है कि मैं पूरा पैसा stipulated time, stipulated manner में लेके आऊंगा. That is your statutory undertaking.
वो उसकी गारंटी नहीं होती है बस
Yes.
आपको.
पर पहले this document was to be filed separately. Now this appears on your shipping bill itself. Is that clear?
Yes.
So
Now
12 and 13 have been club together. Instead of pehle, these documents were to be filed separately, but now you don't file this document. You file the information on the customs server, and system will generate the shipping bill, which carries the undertaking that exporter will realize the full export proceeds as stated in GR form. Is that clear? Is that clear?
Sir, very much clear, sir.
Okay. But this is a regulatory requirement. Law ki requirement hai that you will realize the full export proceeds and you are required to give details of your shipment. Ab aapki gaadi, because you have completed GST procedure and your gaadi has started from the factory. Here your the agent has already done the activity. He has filed the documents. So now the goods are allowed to enter the port trust area. But they cannot enter because the goods are not allowed unless the port trust permits the goods to enter. This is also known as carting order. So gaadi is allowed to enter the port trust area when your clearing agent obtains permission from the port trust authorities. So he gives a request to custom authorities and port trust authorities for the vehicle to enter the port trust area. This is again a regulatory procedure. Up your goods have come.
लेमन लैंग्वेज में यही है ना, बिल्टी जो आप कहते हैं इसको,
जो आप नो बिल्टी नहीं है, बिल्टी आपकी होगी आरआर ये जीआर ट्रांसपोर्ट रिसीट. अभी मैं वहां तक नहीं पहुंचा. What has happened? Your goods have entered the. अब आपकी गाड़ी जो पोर्ट तक पहुंच गई, but it cannot enter the port trust area because it is a prohibited zone. तो आपका clearing agent goes to the port trust authorities and seeks permission for vehicle to enter the port trust area. That is called vehicle ticket, or we call it carting order, कि मेरी कार्ट को, मेरी गाड़ी को अंदर आने की परमिशन दो. तो वो पोर्ट ट्रस्ट अथॉरिटी उसको परमिशन दे देती कि हाँ इस नंबर की गाड़ी इज अलाउड टू एंटर द पोर्ट ट्रस्ट एरिया. Is that clear? तो आपकी गाड़ी अब पोर्ट के बाहर आ गई थी, वो अब एंटर कर गई. अब पोर्ट पे जब when the गाड़ी has entered the port, it will offload the goods. Now the process will start at customs. So goods are being offloaded. So custom will start the activity. Or custom first of all will ask whether you have paid the port trust charges. So that receipt is required to be produced to the customs, and this is needed to be given to the port trust authorities. Again, this is a regulatory requirement. Ab kya hai? You would have studied that in India there are two types of activities being done. Most of the goods are freely importable and exportable, so you don't require a license. But when the items are placed in the negative list is further subdivided in three parts: banned items, state trading enterprises, and the restricted items. In India, you can export the free items and restricted items. But if the item is reserved for state trading enterprises, only government agencies can export, or they give authority to someone to export. So only those permission holders can export the goods. So इसलिए custom, sorry?
For example?
अब देखिए मैं आपको बता दूं. अब जैसे प्याज is to be exported or dals are to be exported from the country. You cannot export them because दालों की country में shortage है. So government of India says it should be done by NEFID. So what happens? NEFID has got authority to export. If you look at the policy, मैं hurriedly आपको policy बता दूं. This is not my subject matter. If you look at foreign trade policy 1520, it is broadly classified in two categories: freely importable and exportable items.
So I've got it, sir.
No license is required. Sorry?
Sir, I've got it. No, you need not to explain, sir.
Okay. So negative list में तीन part है: banned, STEs, state trading enterprises, and restricted category. यहाँ पर you require license or permission. These are free. Here only STEs, state trading enterprises, can export. तो इसलिए now custom will see. Custom would see whether you have got export permission or quota certificate. अब suppose I am exporting non-basmati rice, or I am exporting wheat. तो आपके पास quota है? Do you have the permission to export? So they would see. Custom would see the original quota certificate or permission, so that they permit the goods to be exported. Or if you are exporting pulses, they would like to see whether you have got license to export these pulses or not. So इस तरह से custom would like to have original export permission so that they permit the goods to be exported from the country. So इसलिए this is a regulatory requirement. You have to have the permission to export them. So इस तरह से once the goods are cleared, they issue an order. What is that called? The final order by the customs to export or to allow the export of goods. What is that order called? What is that order called? Those who are dealing with exports should be able to answer. People who are dealing with exports should be able to answer that. What is that order called? Let export order. When the custom is satisfied that these goods are okay, they have inspected the goods, they have found everything in order, they permit the goods to be exported from the country. This is called let export order, which is given on the shipping bill. Now the goods are handed over to the shipping company's representative sitting at the port. So what happens? These goods are being handed over to the shipping company, and shipping company's representative is sitting at the port, and he issues a receipt. This is called mate's receipt. Mate's receipt is an acknowledgement by the shipping company's representative that they have received the goods. Ab wo, when he issues this receipt, he comments on the apparent state of packing. If he finds the goods are not properly packed, he issues defective mate's receipt, or we call it closed mate's receipt. If he finds everything is in order, apparently there is no problem with the goods, with the packing of goods, he issues clean mate's receipt. So mate's receipt is nothing but acknowledgement by the shipping company's representative sitting at the port कि हमने ये इतने पैकेट्स रिसीव कर लिए, फटे हुए बैग्स थे, टूटे हुए बक्से थे, और they were all right. He comments. If he comments adverse, or he puts adverse comment on the state of packing, it is called closed mate's receipt. But if he puts no comment on the apparent state of packing, it is called clean mate's receipt. Mate's receipt will ultimately become your BILT or bill of lading or airway bill. So ये document will ultimately be exchanged with the shipping line. So what happens? Mate's receipt is an acknowledgement. Buyer is not interested in it. So you find मैंने 7 regulatory documents के बारे में बोल दिया, एक सिर्फ document रह गया. Now what happens? The clearing agent will collect.
I have a question, sir.
Yes, please.
Sir, in case of mate's receipt, sir.
Yeah.
And I have gotten मतलब जिसमें दूसरा receipt मिला कि सामान जो है वो defected है.
नहीं, सामान नहीं, क्योंकि shipping company को सामान नहीं आप दिखाते. You only or they only comment on the apparent state of packing. If they find there are defects with regard to packing, say boxes are broken, bags are torn, drums are leaking, so he writes adverse comment on the state of packing. Is that right? So it will become adverse, or we call it closed mate's receipt. But if he doesn't find, why does he comment so? Because shipping company is entering into contract of carriage. They have to safely deliver the goods at the destination. Other goods, suppose they are liquids are put in leaking drums, and by the time they reach destination, the drums are empty. So क्या होगा? Insurance company will pay to me, but will claim the amount from the shipping company that you have not discharged your duty properly. In order to avoid their liability, shipping company is required to comment on the apparent state of packing. इसलिए that is called closed mate's receipt. Is it right?
What am I trying to ask you is this?
Yes.
कि अगर मुझे वैसा रिसिप्ट मिलता है, तो my payment will be altered, sir. उसको भी तो modify हो जाएगा ना वो?
हाँ,
के अंदर.
हाँ, तो आपकी payment will get affected. Insurance claims will get affected. क्योंकि insurance is a contract of good faith. So they say your intention was not to ship the goods, but you wanted to claim from the insurance company. इसलिए clean bill of lading is required. Is that right? Is that right?
मतलब सर थोड़ा सा कंफ्यूजन ये है कि अब जो मेट रिसिप्ट है सर, वो इंश्योरेंस कंपनी, जिस तरह आपने कहा कि इंश्योरेंस कंपनी से वो इफेक्ट करता है, और वो बैंक से भी इफेक्ट करता है सर, जो कमर्शियल बैंक है।
यस।
तो सर वो डॉक्यूमेंट उनको क्यों नहीं चाहिए? उनको सिर्फ बिल ऑफ लाइडिंग चाहिए, तो उसमें तो फिर
नहीं। अब देखिए ना, मेड्स रिसीट आई विल टेक टू द शिपिंग कंपनी, बेस्ड ऑन द मेड्स रिसीट दे विल इशू मी बिल ऑफ lading, और बिल ऑफ lading पे कमेंट आ जाएगा क्योंकि शिपिंग कंपनी का रिप्रेजेंटेटिव हैज स्टेटेड दैट आई हैव रिसीव्ड द गुड्स इन डिफेक्टिव स्टेट, तो बिल ऑफ lading पे वो कमेंट डाल देगा कि डिफेक्टिव गुड्स आर और डिफेक्टिवली पैक्ड गुड्स आर बीइंग सेंट। Is that right? So bill of lading will have that reflection. ये मैं अभी आपको bill of
documents are correlated to
bill of lading is issued on the basis of maid's receipt. देखिए, bill of lading is issued by shipping company's office, which is at say Nariman Point, and maid's receipt is issued by shipping company's representative or the captain of the vessel. उसने जब goods receive की, तो he has found the goods were received in damaged condition. So he will immediately comment on their state of packing. Up you have taken, or the clearing agent will take this document to the shipping company's office, and shipping company on the basis of that comment will issue the bill of lading, which will be a defective bill of lading. Is that right? And this document is needed by the buyer or the bank. So bank has received a closed bill of lading. तो बैंक will कहेगा कि हमारा तो इंश्योरेंस क्लेम भी सेटल नहीं होगा, इसलिए the banks don't want closed bill of lading, they want clean bill of lading. So देखिए, how does it look like? I'll show you. अब bill of lading पे shipping company has stated, see this document, received in apparent good order and condition. But अगर goods उसने so this is called clean bill of lading. But suppose shipping company states received in leaking drums, broken boxes, so this will become defective bill of lading, or we call it closed bill of lading. Is that right? So इस तरह से shipping company comments on the apparent state of packing.
Sir, can we get the packing goods repaired, sir, or packing?
हाँ, कर सकते हैं, because port के ऊपर there is always a facility that packers are sitting there. You can get them repacked. पर अगर नहीं करते आप, और defective state of packing में these goods are being dispatched, तो shipping company अपने they want to wash off their hands. They don't want to take the risk of taking responsibility later. So इसलिए they comment on the apparent state of packing. उनको goods के बारे में नहीं पता, but they see the external packing and comment on it. Is that right? आप उनको ये थोड़ी बता रहे हैं कि आपने गेहूं भेजा या grains भेजे या garbage भेजी है. So they say 100 bags in apparent good order. अब उसमें क्या है? और they say set to contain garments, set to contain electronic item. क्यों? हमने देखी नहीं है, but he says or shipper says these are garments or these are garbage. जो भी है, they comment on your statement. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now what has happened? The document is issued. The most important document, or the transport or the control document, is issued by the shipping line, and buyer needs it. This is a document which is needed by customs, needed by GST agencies, needed by Chamber of Commerce, needed by commercial bank, and this document travels with the final set of documents, so we call it commercial principal document. Ab kya hai? The agent goes to the Chamber of Commerce and obtains the certificate of origin. But for getting the certificate of origin, he applies for it. So application for certificate of origin is given by the seller to the Chamber of Commerce. This is only a procedure. Buyer is not interested. What is he interested in? The certificate of origin. Certificate of origin is a document which is needed by the buyer so that his goods can be cleared by the authorities in that country. Suppose you are exporting Israel origin goods to Saudi Arabia, they'll not be cleared, because Saudi Arabia doesn't want Israeli origin goods. So certificate of origin will ascertain that which origin goods are being dispatched from the country. So this document travels with the final set of documents. We call
is there any institution that gives you this?
Yes, Chamber of Commerce. Chamber of Commerce, or sometimes the inspection agency or the External Affairs Ministry, they are permitted to issue this document. So you go to Chamber of Commerce, or sometimes it is your agent who goes to the Chamber of Commerce and applies for the certificate, and the certificate is issued, which is termed as. So application is only a procedure, so I have termed it as commercial auxiliary document. And based on your application, the Chamber of Commerce issues the certificate, which is called Certificate of Origin, which travels with the final set of documents. It is called Commercial Principal Document. Now what happens? Most of the activity is done. As prudent seller, I give intimation to the buyer that, Mr. Buyer, I have sent you the detail. I have sent you the goods. So he is required to give the information about shipment to the buyer. This is called shipping advice, which is given by the seller, given to the buyer, and a copy of it is required to be submitted to the commercial bank. This is again commercial principal document. अब मैंने अपना part perform कर दिया, so I draw bill of exchange. I draw bill of exchange on the buyer that or the bank.
Shipping advice बताइए फिर से.
देखिए, जब भी आप shipment कर देते हैं, you are required to give information to the buyer कि मैंने तुझे ये goods इस number की, इस इतने packets, इतनी volumes. All those details are required to be given to the buyer so that he makes necessary arrangement for the clearance of goods. He should not get a rude shock कि आपकी goods पहुंच गई अब उसको पता ही नहीं है. So you as a prudent seller are required to give information to the buyer that these are the details of shipment. So वो intimation which is given by the seller to the buyer is called shipping advice or shipment advice. Is that clear?
Okay, sir. Okay.
So this is and normally there is a clause. Within 2 days of dispatch or within 5 days of dispatch, the seller is required to give information to the buyer. So this information which is provided by the seller to the buyer, giving details of shipment so that he makes necessary arrangement for the clearance of goods is called shipping advice. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Or we call it shipment advice. Ab kya hai? The seller will draw bill of exchange. What is bill of exchange? It is an unconditional order in writing issued by drawer to the drawee to pay agreed sum as per agreed term. So depending upon your agreement, you draw the bill of exchange. You order, Mr. Buyer or Mr. Buyer's bank, I have supplied you goods as per your contractual, as per contract number such and such. So you are liable to pay me. Or मैंने इस invoice से I have sent you goods, you pay me. This is a document which is sent, drawn by the seller on the buyer or the buyer's bank and is needed by the commercial bank. So if you look at the documentation, I have accounted for 8 regulatory documents, 8 commercial principal document, and then exporter gives a request to the bank. So somebody asked me, how do these documents travel to the buyer or the buyer's bank? So you give this request to the bank to negotiate your documents. That means pay the value before they are realized or send the documents on collection. This is called a request letter to the bank. And this is given by the seller to the seller's bank. And this is commercial auxiliary documents. So I have accounted for all 24 documents. Ab sabse important activity will start. And that is no prayers. You pray to God that senses prevail and this man pays. अब भगवान को आप बीच में डाल देते हैं कि हे भगवान, this man should pay my payment, and the commercial activity comes to an end. Once you have received the payment, now there is a procedure called EBRC, electronic bank realization certificate, is to be obtained by the seller, and I do not know how to press right because I don't find any sign here. So I'll put X mark here. It is required by the seller and issued by the commercial bank. And the commercial activity, documentation activity has come to an end here. This is how all these export documents are being exchanged between the various agencies and the exporter. I have given this flow chart to make you understand what are the various documents which are used. I have given commentary of it. This commentary is available here, which talks about various documents. For example, when the goods are being sent by air, it is airway bill. When they are sent by bill by sea, it is called bill of lading, various types of bills of lading, mate's receipt, combined transport document, shipping bill, export bill. So all these documents have been explained in these documents. Okay, so I would suggest go through these documents. If you find any difficulty, I have stated about various invoices. I said the slides are given here. Go through them and you will get the idea.
Sir, I have a question, sir.
Yes, please. Now you have right to ask.
Professor Harpreet Singh have suggested us many order of payments, in which he said कि एक payment के अंदर your bank will give मतलब वो उसको documents को online upload करेंगे वो लोग और वो उस software जो है वो उसको validate करेगा, then your payment will be released to you.
Yeah.
In that case, sir, उसके अंदर कोई डॉक्यूमेंट अलग से रहेगा इसमें या फिर यही डॉक्यूमेंट्स रहेंगे?
सी अभी क्या हुआ है कि नाउ ई कॉमर्स सिस्टम इज बीइंग इंट्रोड्यूस्ड, बट द प्रॉब्लम इज इन अफ्रीकन कंट्रीज इलेक्ट्रॉनिक सिस्टम इज नॉट सी अल्टीमेटली इट विल बिकम पेपरलेस टेक्नोलॉजी, बट अफ्रीकन कंट्रीज आर नॉट वेरी एडवांस्ड, इसलिए दे आर नॉट एक्सेप्टिंग. पर क्या होता है अब अमेरिका में व्हेन यू आर डीलिंग, से यू आर डीलिंग विद टॉमी हिलफिगर और गैप, दे डोंट वांट द एंटायर डॉक्यूमेंट्स टू बी एक्सचेंज. सो वो क्या करेंगे, आपको बोलेंगे यू अपलोड दीज डॉक्यूमेंट्स एंड दिस इज बेसिकली हेडिंग टुवर्ड्स पेपरलेस टेक्नोलॉजी. ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ दोज डॉक्यूमेंट्स दे विल वेरीफाई फ्रॉम द शिपिंग लाइंस एंड विल रिलीज द पेमेंट. दिस इज हेडिंग टुवर्ड्स द पेपरलेस टेक्नोलॉजी. पर ये अभी क्योंकि बिकॉज द सिस्टम हैज नॉट बिकम वेरी प्रोमिनेंट इन डेवलपिंग वर्ल्ड, इसलिए पेपरलेस टेक्नोलॉजी हैज नॉट बीन अप्रूव्ड सो फार. बट अमेरिकन और यूरोपियन कंट्रीज हैव स्टार्टेड इंट्रोड्यूसिंग दिस सिस्टम. तो वहां पर क्या है कि आपकी डॉक्यूमेंटेशन इज बिकमिंग सिंपलर. यू डोंट नीड टू सबमिट. या सॉरी,
so my question was this is there any other document that need to be submitted?
यही डॉक्यूमेंट्स जो आप कर रहे हैं, इंस्टेड ऑफ सबमिटिंग दीज डॉक्यूमेंट्स टू योर बैंकर्स, you are required to submit, say, the bill of lading, invoice and packing list, and that is sufficient for him. He has done the insurance, he has made arrangement for the clearance, so you don't need to submit all those documents, which the 8 documents which I have asked. They might ask you to produce only 2 documents, say invoice, packing list and the bill of lading. The copies are being uploaded and on the basis of it they'll release the payment. Okay. So you don't need to submit the physical copies of these documents. Okay. So this is heading towards the paperless technology, but I said internationally this system has not been finally approved because developing nations are not well versed with the system. Isliye we are still doing the documentation exercise here. But once it is approved, then you won't be needing, as we are heading towards digitalization, you don't need to submit all those papers. But there are certain procedures to be followed, so we have talked about those standard procedures here. Is that right?
Okay, sir.
Is your query answered?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much.
Sorry.
Yes, please.
Is custom department open the goods at all?
Yes, they have right to open. They have every right to open, because suppose they find that some mischief is done from the factory. This was a case of factory stuffing. The container was sealed in the factory, but they find that some tampering is done between the transit. So they have every right to open the container and inspect the goods. They do it. They have rights.
So even if you have self-validated these goods, मतलब उसमें एक वो था ना कि सेल्फ वैलिडेशन भी हो गया है.
हाँ, तो वही है कि अगर उनको they find or they have got some information. See what happens. This information comes from the rivals. अब जिसकी राइवलरी है वो कहता है कस्टम को कि इस आदमी ने सिल्वर डिक्लेयर किया बट ही इज एक्सपोर्टिंग गोल्ड. तो कस्टम को एक इंफॉर्मेशन आ गई, सो दे हैव राइट. अब उसने सेल्फ डिक्लेरेशन में क्लियर करवा लिया था, बट कस्टम हैज गॉट इंफॉर्मेशन, दे हैव राइट टू ओपन and see or re-inspect the goods. So they have every right to do it. Or some tampering is done with the containers or with the cargo, so they have every right to reopen and investigate the goods. Kyunki not only the value is important, it gives bad name to the country also. Isliye custom has every right. They have empowered customs to do anything they feel like. Is that right?
Sir, if I have got my goods validated by the authorities assigned for that, and it has been uploaded to the ship, and the shipper does anything wrong.
Shipping company. Shipper is you. You are selling the goods.
Shipping company, sir.
Shipping company has done some mischief. Okay.
Mischief, sir. Then will I be still in the court for that law you have mentioned?
See, I said, suppose the shipping company has sold off the goods en route, and the buyer doesn't get the goods. He has right to file claim against the shipping line, plus, but that case will be decided later. For immediate payment, I'll go to the insurance company and claim the amount. So as far as the buyer and sellers are concerned, they are being paid off, and shipping company will file a case against the shipping company that you have done mischief, on account of which this claim has arisen, and I have paid this claim. अब आप मुझे पे करो, because you had entered into contract for carriage of goods which you have not performed.
But there is one question, sir. In the bill of lading, there is one clause mentioned over there that shipper loads, stow and count, sir. So
shipper loads, and you are referring to Article 27 of UCP, which says shipping company, since they have not seen the goods, shipping company has not seen the goods, तो वो कहते हैं कि ये shipper जो बोलता है ये है, मुझे नहीं पता, I have not seen the goods. So it is shipping company is relying on the statement of the shipper, इसलिए they state so.
So then how can we file the claim against the shipping line, sir?
This is a normal standard practice. Shipping company, आप उनको खोल के थोड़ी कार्गो दिखा रहे हैं कि what is being dispatched, and why should they guarantee that you are sending garments or electronic items? So they say this is what this person has said. Now to substantiate your claim, you have done the insurance done, you have done the inspection done, so it will become, those documents will substantiate that whatever a shipper is saying is correct, is substantially correct. Shipping company may have done mischief in between, that is possible. So then investigation will progress and they will find. अब जो चोरी करता है वो ये थोड़ी कहता है कि मैंने चोरी की है. He would say that I have not done anything. Now the evidence will say, or when investigation progresses, then somebody says, yes, ये जहाज इसने divert किया था, they offloaded so many containers there, and they have sold off the goods. So इस तरह से those evidences will show that some mischief is done by the shipping company. Is that right? But on the basis of documents, shipping company ko you don't declare or you don't show them product. So since they are not shown the product, they cannot take responsibility. So they say whatever is stated by the seller, this is what the shipper is stating, and we believe it. We have no reason to disbelieve.
So one last question is
yes.
So in case of agriculture products, we need to have a phytosanitary certificate, sir.
Yes.
Sir, in India, what is the practice is going on? The people from the plant control department visits the custom area, they examine the goods, they take the samples, and they give the phytosanitary certificate, sir.
Correct.
Sir, if we talk about any inspection agency, sir, can we consider it as a evidence for the claim? If the buyer,
your problem is that the buyer says these goods are not up to the mark. That is why I said, if you can get inspection done by private agencies like SGS, or you can get it from export inspection agencies, and you keep their certificate, and subsequently you find the buyer is claiming कि ये goods are not the same which is being stated by the seller. He has misdeclared the goods in the invoice. अब क्या होगा कि your statement will be substantiated by the inspection agency certificate, and inspection agency says that they have conducted independent inspection and they have found the goods in order. So when the matter goes to the court, it goes generally in favor of seller who has got the goods inspected by independent agency. So it is advised that that certificate will substantiate the seller's claim that the quality which is being desired by the buyer is being supplied.
So I know a case similar to this thing.
Yeah.
That was in the case of mustard seed, sir.
Okay. Okay. So you got your claim. Because insurance company will also pay the amount in case there is some defect. So I always suggest that you should get the inspection done by the agencies or government agencies. At least you are saved many a times when the buyer, because ye to nahi hota, supplier is always at fault. Maybe the buyer's intention has gone bad or the market has fallen. So buyer will try to find reasons to wriggle out of deal. Isliye, this independent agency certificate will help you in solving the problem. So I always suggest that you should go for independent agency certificate. Yes, please.
Sir, how much money they charge, sir?
देखिए, as per the certification system, I said there are 3 types of inspections: CWI, IPQC, and SCS. In CWI, they charge 0.4%, 40 paisa per 100 rupees FOB value. In IPQC, it is 20 paisa per 100 rupees. And in SCS, it is 10 paisa per 100 rupees, subject to maximum of 1 lakh rupiah. So that is the fees you are required to pay to the inspection agency. Sorry?
No, sir, I was writing it down, so which is why
Yeah, you will find this in the inspection certificates.
In the inspection certificate, sir.
Yeah. Thank you very much, friends.
Sir, we want you to be our mentor, sir.
No. I hardly know anything. I am also a student,
sir,
I said.
I seriously want you to be my mentor, sir.
No. You will be at loss then.
Yes, sir, I will be a professor.
It will always be a pleasure that if I am of any help to you, you are most welcome. You can call me at any time. I have already stated. This is my mobile number and my email ID. Dr. MP Singh is my name.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
I really enjoyed interacting with you all. It was a very interesting discussion. You had put me on hooks all the time, and I was really scared of coming today. I was really scared.
Thanks a lot for your class, sir. It really meant a lot to me.
I hope I am able to clarify some of your doubts.
Sir, मतलब sir आपने वो हवा निकाल दिया सर. आपने जो कहा था वो
मैंने हवा क्रिएट कर दिया या निकाला.
नहीं सर निकाल दिया
सर. The intention was to make it as simple as possible. Thank you very much.
आपको बोला है डॉक्यूमेंटेशन से बॉटम लगता है.
नहीं बिल्कुल नहीं घबराइए. Go through my slides. You will be able to understand them. फिर मैंने कुछ documents भी बनाए हैं. कुछ documents जो standard documents are used, they are also given. और last class में you can ask me questions. I'll try to answer them. 16th को we'll be meeting again. 15th I'll be coming back. So you have to remind me.
I need to remind you on 15th.
15th, yes. Yeah, 15th morning I'm coming. So I'll pull one of the contracts and bring it. Because I told you I'm an old man, I forget many times. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.
Good night. All the best.